You can lead your feelings. And I want to tell you what I mean. I had a friend named Brody. Brody did this Spartacus workout. He said it was horrible. He didn't like it. He did it and it made it so sore. I think he said he could barely walk. He hated it. And he said, but I'd committed to do this workout. And so I did it again and I did it again. And I hated it. And I did it again the next day and I hated it. I did it again the next day and I was sore and I hated it. I did it again and I did it again. I just really didn't like it. I hated this workout, but he goes, I committed to do it. So I did it. And he said he kept doing it. And right around week 2.5 or 3, something changed. He said, instead of hating this workout, for the first time, I felt like I was just getting started. He said, I said, well, do you remember the exact day? And he goes, no, I don't. But somehow I knew that I felt like I was just getting started. And he goes, that day I did it twice. You see that? Or someday around week 2.5 or 3, he had to do it for 2.5 or 3 weeks, but on day, somewhere around that 2.5, 3 mark, he felt like doing it twice, and he did. He goes, it happened again the next day. I got to the end of the workout. I felt so good. I wanted to do it again, and I did. I did it again. You see, his feelings changed with his actions. He was able to lead his feelings and change them by what he did. Now, this is something we get wrong in our society. We think that we always have, if you feel something, you should express it. That's not always true. If you feel angry, maybe you shouldn't express it. Maybe you should work on your thoughts. Let me tell you one more story. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, tells a story that goes something like this. He said he was at the end of a conference. Somebody came up to him and said, I don't love my wife anymore. And Stephen Covey was surprised. I mean, who says that to somebody? And he looked at the guy and said, well, then love her. The guy said, I don't love her. I fell out of love with her. We have a few kids. I think we're heading for a divorce, and it kind of concerns me. And Stephen Covey looked at him and said, well, if you're not feeling it, that would be a good reason to love her, something similar to that. The guy looked at him and said, I just told you I don't love her. Like, how do you love someone you don't love? And Stephen Covey looked at the guy and said, you know what? You're acting like love is a feeling. Love's not a feeling. Love is an action word. It's a verb. It's something you do. But if you do the verb, if you act like you love your wife, the feeling will follow. He said, the verb is like, you want the fruit, the feeling, but you've got to grow the tree. You've got to do the action. And I want you to know this is a principle that we can lead our feelings with our actions. If you're not feeling like being a good dad, if you're not feeling like aligning with principles, if you're not feeling like exercising or being trustworthy or keeping your word, the key is to do what you know you need to do anyway. And then you are now aligned with principles and your feelings can follow. Now, if you just make all your decisions based on your feelings, like I don't feel like exercising, so I'm not. Well, can you imagine someone saying, I'm not going to exercise until the feeling just kind of wafts by? You'll never exercise. You got to exercise before you feel like it, and then you'll feel like it. If you're not feeling love for your spouse, your wife, or your children, go act loving to them, and the feeling will follow. You see, the real key to success, my friends, my dads who are listening to this, is not to base your decisions on how you feel. And in our society, everybody's telling you, how do you feel? How do you feel? Let's take your temperature all the time. How do you feel? And they want to make all your decisions based on your feeling. I'm saying that's not the most important thing. Worry less about how you feel. Worry more about what's the principle and what's the right thing to do. The key to success, in my view, and again, be humble enough to realize you're not a principle. Number 2, figure out what the principles are. Number 3, like Daniel in that other section we talked about, make your little tiny daily decisions align with principle, even if you don't feel like it. And you can lead your feelings and do great things. And when you have that, when you have principles behind you, you can almost feel that power, that it's almost as powerful to grab. You can almost feel tingles that things are pushing you along. And when you're making decisions based solely on your feelings, it's like, have you ever noticed the bad news? Your feelings are kind of like the weather. Some days you're mad and you're happy, and next minute you're embarrassed, and then you're sad, and you're happy again. If all you're doing is taking your temperature, saying, how do I feel? That's going to be less valuable than if you say, hey, I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to align with principles, even though I don't feel like it. And then here's the magic. Soon you do feel like it. but because you've got principles behind you, you're not just flitting around in the wind. You're now going places. So make your decisions not on your feelings. Make your decisions based on principle. I can't stress this enough. We don't worry as much about how we feel as we worry about what's the principle and how can I align with it. Thank you.